Like I've never even stepped on a job site before. What the heck am I doing?
I don't know what to do.
No. First pipe was almost not a success.
Yeah, that was a mistake. The actual welded piece came off.
This is Simple Living with Biata. For the last year and a bit, I've been developing our dream land to call home. From tree felling to excavating to plumbing to electrical, I'm learning so much from scratch with no experience. My typical video is vlogging my day-to-day life at the property, showing my biggest fails.
I guess there was a large root in it and the root just kind of flew out.
And some amazing triumphs. I still cannot believe I got this stump out. And with that, there's a handful of regrets that I want to share with you today. Number one is having an unrealistic timeline. We sold our home at the peak of the market in 2021, which is a year and 8 months ago. And I thought we'd be living in our home by now. Instead, my husband, my daughter, and I are living in our 32-foot trailer. After selling our home, it took us 5 months to find our dream land at the right price. We wanted to sell high and buy low. So we've had our land for about a year and 4 months, and in that time, we put in our driveway with the help of my stepdad, Craig. I cleared 1.5 acres out of our 18.5 acres. We brought in electricity. I learned how to wire my first panel. Craig helped me with excavating the area where our home is gonna go. I learned how to do plumbing and plumbed everything for underneath our foundation. I started my homestead, planted fruit trees and fruit bushes. With the help of Craig, we built our septic bed, and I learned how to frame and built my own shed. We had some delays with the house permit, and then the excavator we got in September broke down before we could finish backfilling the foundation.
Really? It's not even moving. Thumb on this machine's not even moving anymore.
This set us back 2 months from being able to finish forming our foundation and pouring the concrete. So that being said, I thought I was going to be framing this winter, but instead I'm splitting wood and getting ready for our house for next winter. Now the timeline is to get going right away in the spring to get our concrete poured, to start framing, and to be able to live in an imperfect home next winter. Honestly, if I thought it was going to take this long, I probably wouldn't have been able to convince my family to sell our home and to move into a trailer to build our dream home in the first place. Number two is having an unrealistic budget. I thought we were going to be able to sell our home, make a ton of profit, which we did, but then be able to build our new home mortgage free. And I think if we moved to a different province, we would have been able to do this, but land is still really expensive where we live. So although we sold high and got a really good deal for our land, we weren't able to do this mortgage free. And although I'm manifesting being able to pay off our home quickly, mortgage free became unrealistic really quickly with the booming prices of materials. Lumber went up, steel went up, cables went up. It was insane. The primary cable to bring in electricity to our property went from $17 a meter to $28 a meter in 2 months without me knowing. And we needed 380 meters. So little things like that set us back a lot. Luckily, we've been able to wait out that huge price gouge, and a lot of materials have come back down. Like last year when I priced out lumber versus this year, it's dropped 60%. But originally with my budget, we were gonna be living in a yurt. And with the prices of yurts, it really just made more sense to frame our home and to be able to build something that could last a really long time and to have good resale just in case I decide to do this again in 10 or 15 years. So with the original goal of living mortgage free versus spending a bit more money, I really do think we're gonna come ahead at the end of the day with building a traditional home. Number three is not knowing what the hell I'm doing. Like I've never even stepped on a job site before. What the heck am I doing? I have learned everything from scratch. And doing this means everything is taking so much longer because a lot of my days I'm spending my time researching, watching videos, making phone calls, asking questions to be able to fully understand the next task that I'm doing. So obviously it's taking me longer to build because of that. This is where I'm so thankful for friends who are willing to pick up the phone and answer my questions. And this is where I'm so thankful for my stepdad, Craig, for being willing to teach me how to use an excavator. To to teach me how to use a chainsaw, to be able to help me with my septic bed, my driveway, my foundation, and so much more. Although it's crazy to be learning all of this and doing it from scratch, I think I'm going to be able to look back on this and be really thankful for all that I've learned and to be able to know how my home actually functions. My fourth regret is not buying a tractor or some sort of heavy machinery to help me do all of the tasks that I've been doing. So here's the thing. Tractors are super expensive, and I have zero knowledge on the upkeep and maintenance of machines.
The track came off and I can't fix it either. I have no clue what I'm doing.
So it's probably a good thing that I don't have an excavator, but I really wish I had one and wish I had taken the time to learn how to do all the maintenance and the upkeep on machines. Having some form of heavy machinery to be able to help me even in the homestead area, to help with the foundation, and to be able to do things in a slower and safer pace would be so helpful. I've rented an excavator for a total of 4.5 weeks now, from building the driveway to moving logs to doing our electrical trench and for building our foundation and our septic bed. And every time we rented those machines, we had them for 7 days, and it was such a mad rush to get everything done.
Oh, we have sand here.
Are you kidding?
No. No, definitely not ready.
To get things inspected.
Our inspection is today and we are not ready.
And at the end of the day, they became weeks of chaos. And for those of you wondering how much we've spent about $7,500 just on the rentals alone. And I think I'm gonna have to rent a machine again once or twice next year. So my fifth regret, and probably the biggest regret, has to do with life timing. So this could be a really controversial point because I think stepping past your fears and just doing it is also really important. But I really do believe life timing would have made things so much easier in this process. When we decided to sell our home, it was because we knew we'd be able to make a huge profit. Sell high, buy low. So we timed that well. And then we waited to buy our land and we got a really good deal. So we also timed that really well. But my bigger point here is more of a life timeline. It honestly probably would have been easier if we had just waited another 15 years to do this build. When we sold our home, my husband was not working because he had gone back to school for a career shift. I was a stay-at-home mom with a little bit of a side hustle, and the world was an absolute disaster. But I had hope and I had grit, so we went for it. And it was a little bit naive. It definitely made my husband's career/school shift more difficult, and that's why you guys haven't really seen my husband on this channel a lot. He had just started a new career when we started this channel. It also became impossible for me to be a stay-at-home mom while trying to build our home. So we ended up enrolling our daughter into school, which definitely benefited both of us. I think if we were more established in our careers and living in a home or renting a home, things would have been a lot easier on this journey. But instead, we're gonna be spending 2 to 3 years living in this trailer, which isn't necessarily ideal in Canada. If my daughter was 18 years old or older, I'd feel a lot less guilt about taking her away from her safe and comfortable 1,500 square foot home. At the end of the day, I know the dream will be worth it, but it's my dream. It's not my husband's dream. It's not my daughter's dream. And I do feel a lot of guilt about taking them away from their comfort zones to make my dream become a reality. And I think it's really important to be able to have a strong marriage and strong communication skills before going into this. And if things do start falling apart, to not be afraid to ask for professional help. I know this will all be worth it in the end. My daughter will have so much outdoor space. We'll be able to have chickens. We'll be able to grow our own food. My daughter will be able to have her dream bedroom where she's gonna be able to do gymnastics underneath her bed. And my husband will be able to have his cabin deep within the forest, which he's always dreamt about. But these things definitely take time, a lot more time than I thought. And they definitely take us out of our comfort zones. But being taken out of our comfort zone is where we find growth. So in conclusion, I still think that it's important to have a dream and to do it scared. But these are definitely 5 things that I wish I knew about before starting this journey. But in a heartbeat, even though it brings discomfort and more difficulty, I do it all over again, because at the end of the day, it's brought me an incredible community. I've learned so many really cool skills, and a huge bonus is that I've been able to create an income while doing this build. Thank you so much for watching this week's video. I know it was different than my normal vlogs, but soon we'll be back at it, making maple syrup, starting our home build, and then it's gonna be go, go, go. If you're new here or if you've been enjoying my content, definitely consider subscribing. It's free and it's a huge help to my family. And like and comment below. I love hearing from you. Thank you so much for joining me today with my 5 biggest regrets from this build so far. And with that, I will see you next week.